All right, I think that we're ready to go into our special agenda tonight, which I hope everybody has stayed around for, which is going to start by us bringing three of our scholarship winners from last year. I don't know if you're aware of this, but one of the things that the PTO does with the money that you guys so generously donate is we provide scholarships to certain students. These are merit-based scholarships, and they apply for them their senior year. You have to be a senior at attending Carnegie full time. You can apply for this scholarship, and then we provide. I think last year was $1,500 for the seven students who won them. Gary, is that right?
That's
Um,
correct. Seven
and then
students
they
that won the
seven
gold scholarship.
students.
Yep.
Right, we call this the Gold Scholarship. They get it and they get to use it when they go to college the next year. And we've asked three of our winners from last year if they could come and answer a few questions that we're going to pose to them. And then we'll leave a little bit of time for you guys to put any questions you might have from them. And we have a moderator joining us. Hey.
Hi, I just want to start off by extending a very warm welcome to our CVHS alumni, and we are very happy that you've taken time off your busy schedule to attend our meeting and offer us some insights on your journey to college. And so since we don't have a whole lot of time, I'm going to get right to it. Would you mind kind of sharing with us like what really was the starting off point on your journey to college? Because I think most of the kids, I think they're still trying to figure out how they would go about approaching it. So as they say, like a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So what would you advise kids to think about?
Why don't we start from my top of my screen, Pablo? I'm just going to go from top to bottom. Pablo, would you
Yeah,
like to? Hi.
yeah. So, I'd say the first thing you should start out with, like in terms of going into the college journey head first, is first of all finding out what you like and what you're passionate about. And I think high school is a really great place to explore that. For me personally, I found out that I really enjoyed mathematics and engineering as a whole when I joined the high school robotics team, and also took some math courses that I really enjoyed in high school. And that's when I kind of found my passion for what I wanted to go into. And eventually I decided that I wanted to go into the field of mechanical engineering, and maybe more specifically, I wanted to go into robotics and using autonomous robotics in practical applications. So I guess finding out what you really want to do, what you really like in high school is a very good starting point to getting to the college experience.
Would anybody else like to jump in and add something to that?
I think
Yeah.
definitely Pablo has a that's basically what I was gonna say. I would also say at least for if we're going along the lines of picking a college, make sure you pick a college that really reflects kind of your values, and also an environment that you think you'll really thrive in. I definitely wanted a college in a big city. And so that was very connected to the tech industry and stuff. And so Seattle was a great fit for me. And so I think that's also something important other than your major, picking your major.
Yeah, I agree with Kaylin and Pablo. A lot of the math classes that we took, I actually took with both of them. So I'm doing computer science and applied math, and like just kind of taking courses and subjects that interest you. It's pretty important because you don't really get as much flexibility at college. You're kind of just like you have to do your major. So I would really recommend if you even think you're kind of interested in something, definitely go that route and like just try it, take a course. Worst case scenario, you don't like it. But at least you're not spending the time in college and then you're also paying for it, just to do something that you don't enjoy. And then I would also say, that having good mentors is really important in like the college process and just gearing up for college. So Miss Chen at Carnegie is like one of my personal like examples for kind of how I want to be as like a mathematician, and like in my career. So that's an example of a good mentor for science fair. I've had some mentors, things like that. So it's important to find like a good support network because they've gone to college before, more likely than not, and they can kind of advise you on your journey.
Thank you, Pablo, Kaylin, and Yash. I also wanted to ask you guys, did getting a scholarship or finances play any part at all in which college you finally decided to attend? Like, was getting a scholarship, merit scholarship, or some kind of a financial assistance? Was it a part of your decision making?
Pablo, you
I
want to go
guess I'll
first
answer
again?
first. So I consider myself very fortunate in the sense that my family and I didn't really have to worry about financial aid or paying for college. But I did get a full ride to the University of Houston and a few financial aid scholarships from the University of Texas, where I currently attend. So those did help, but those weren't overall the final decision-making factors that helped me choose what college I decided to go to.
Kaylin?
Kaylin?
Yeah, I would say same. Like I got some merit scholarships, but I ended up going to University of Washington for other reasons. Um, Mostly for like rowing and engineering. So it definitely like at least this CVHS one definitely like helped a little bit for my parents, but I am also really fortunate to um have like my parents are able to pay for my tuition. So
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat to Pablo and Kaylin, where I'm very fortunate that my family is able to be full pay. But I was able to still like aggressively pursue merit scholarships. I was a recipient of the Citgo scholarship, and then obviously like the PTO scholarship was quite helpful. It really like it seems like like multi-$100,000 tuition bill that like $1,000 is not that much money, but that's $1,000 you keep in your pocket, which I mean, every cent counts.
Smita, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. You've all gone off to places, which are not, except for Pablo, who's at the University of Texas, Austin. All of you have gone out of state, but still all of you are kind of far from home. Do you all feel like Carnegie prepared you adequately for college so you don't feel like you're struggling, or I understand there's going to be some adjustment because you're all away from home, but did you feel that the transition was much easier for you because you attended Carnegie Vanguard? And if there was one thing which you feel like, would have helped you, which Carnegie could do better, for the next generation of students who are coming in, what would that be?
Yeah,
Pablo?
so to answer the first part of that question, I'd say that Carnegie really helped me in the sense that I learned how to learn at Carnegie. So more specifically, I took like a lot of AP classes and I made sure that my coursework throughout my 4 years at Carnegie were pretty rigorous. So in my first 2 years, I kind of was still figuring out what kind of course or what kind of career path I wanted to go down. By the end of sophomore year, I kind of had it nailed down that I wanted to go towards the STEM field. So I started orienting my AP classes and the AP classes that I were taking towards STEM related subjects such as AP Physics, AP Stats, AP Calc, and whatnot. So I kind of transitioned into this STEM related mindset, which is pretty applicable to what I'm doing right now in college. Right now, I'm in a pretty major oriented workspace where I'm just focusing on a bunch of STEM courses, a bunch of math and physics. And I'd say what Carnegie did really well was I was able to learn how to learn efficiently. So learning like complex subjects in a really fast time, but also in a really effective amount of time, like actually understanding concepts in a short amount of time, but also learning how to learn in class, how to take notes efficiently, how to not just like, copy everything that's on the board, but take key ideas from any lecture, and how to apply that towards studying effectively for tests, and how to orient your brain in a way where you can look at a subject and you can learn how to apply that different topic specifically to exams. And to answer your second question about what I would want to change about Carnegie is I kind of wish there was a less emphasis on AP examinations. I think some of my favorite courses that I took at Carnegie were not AP related. So Yosh and Kalen were in this class. It was called Post Calculus. And I know Yosh was in this class, which no longer exists now, which is called Pre-Cal BC. Me and Yosh took that course, and for me, that was like my first introduction into like a rigorous level math, where a lot of what we were doing was very much application based, and it's not something that you typically see in like an AP based classroom type. So having classes that were led by Ms. Chen, and also classes led by Mr. Barnes in the form of Stat 2, those were really fun classes where I kind of felt like I was able to independently study these topics in mathematics and kind of explore what these topics were about and how to apply them. And I didn't have to worry about taking an AP exam or kind of orienting the way I thought into the kind of route or foundations of an AP course. Instead, I could kind of move a lot more freely and explore the subjects a lot better. So I kind of wish that we had a greater emphasis on these independent study courses.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Um,
You want to add something?
Yeah, so I think Carnegie definitely prepared me for college, the same way that Pablo was talking about. And I think also like in terms of rigor and stuff like that, but I think also content wise, taking post-cal as an engineering major or future engineering major definitely prepared me. The math, like all the math that I'm taking now, I've already done in post-cal. So taking Miss Chen's class was like definitely a big help. Um, and like thanks so much to Miss Chen for giving us that opportunity. Um, but I think also I know that a lot of Carnegie students are probably going into engineering. And I think that having a class that focuses more on engineering subjects like post-cal, maybe like a robotics class would be really helpful. Because I know being on the robotics team, we didn't have we had like a room, but it was very dysfunctional sometimes. And so having like more support for robotics and like STEM extracurriculars like that may be a little bit better for people going into STEM fields. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with the two of them as well. Carnegie academically, I don't think there's much that could have been done to prepare me better. I'm taking Calculus 3 right now. I took discrete math last semester, and I mean it just felt like I was taking another one of Miss Chen's courses, maybe a little bit easier even. And I mean Carnegie just prepares you really well academically. What I would say that might be useful is that, and something that I was kind of unprepared for, is that the Carnegie social environment is just so radically different to what you would experience at like a normal real college with like your normal like everyday person, right? And so it's really hard to adjust from a Carnegie-esque environment where everyone is constantly like on top of their business and like trying to get ahead to getting into an environment where there's like every single kind of person. Especially I go to a pretty large school, and the other two do as well. At large schools it's especially like challenging because you're just another number. So I think that if Carnegie like maybe some more social emphasis on just like the I don't know how it could be done, but definitely social emphasis. That's one thing that I felt that I wasn't as prepared for by Carnegie.
Thank you.
Smita, I think we have maybe time for one more question, and maybe we can shake it up and have Kaylin answer first, just so everybody doesn't feel like they have to go in that order.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's not you. I think I started that.
So you had all mentioned initially that you were all pretty focused. You all knew your majors, and you feel like high school played a good part in kind of guiding you to, what is the thing that you want to study. But there's still going to be kids who are undecided, who are not sure about what they want to study. So do you kind of have suggestions for them? Like I think Pablo had mentioned, and I think Kaylin was also part of robotics club. And so how do you suggest like they would go about like just beyond clubs? And Yash was talking about socialization. So how do you kind of go about like, beyond clubs? Is there anything else that you could do? Taking some classes, like you said. Is there anything else that they can do to kind of figure out what it is that they want to study?
I think that kind of the breadth of the Carnegie curriculum, I think at least if I was undecided, which I kind of was, like I was teetering on the brink of like engineering or art. I think like taking those classes that were part of the Carnegie curriculum, I think really helped um, me and other classmates kind of understand what their strong suits were and what their passions were. But if people are still undecided about that, I would say join clubs that sound interesting. If you don't like it, you don't have to stay. But definitely don't join clubs for the resume. Join because you're passionate about it. Um, and join for quality over quantity. Don't join a bunch of clubs. You can join a bunch of clubs at the beginning, but stick with ones that you're really passionate about. Um, and also, I know that Houston is a big city. Um, there's always events going on and stuff like that. So I think getting out into the industry or exposing yourself to experiences that seem interesting to you, that might help you take a major. But honestly, once you get to college, I know Carnegie AP classes kind of get you out of all of your core curriculum for most schools, but trying out classes in college, you don't have to pick your major immediately in most cases. So I wouldn't for kids that are worried about it, I wouldn't worry too much. You still have time in college to decide. So
Thank you, Kaylin. Yash, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask here because I've been pretty decided on what I wanted to do since I was like 12 years old. But generally, like in terms of like within CS where I wanted to go, the way I found that out is like just by doing things. Like literally you can just I read this on Twitter a lot. You can just do things, and the most interesting people I've met at UNC are the people who in high school, instead of like kind of grinding out their resume, they just literally like they sat down and they did stuff, right? Like two of my roommates for next year both founded like $1 million startups. And it was kind of just because they were doing things, right? They spent some time doing like things that they were interesting to them, just kind of messing around almost. And that ended up turning into something that was like genuinely enjoyable. So I think that yeah, that's my advice. Just do things.
Pablo, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I really want to like first start out by saying that I agree with Kaylin and Yash with their perspectives. Um, and I really would just take the advice from them. But I guess one more thing that I'd want to add to Yash's advice is that like in addition to doing things, like there are plenty of resources online that can help you figure out what you want to do. So for me personally, when I was starting out as a freshman in high school, I figured that I kind of wanted to go into a STEM field. I was still like uncertain about going into like engineering or computer science, but I figured out that I might as well just like dip my toes into the water of STEM as a whole. So what I decided to do was self-learn like programming languages. So I started out with Java and then moved on to Python. And there are plenty of online resources that you can use just to learn things, like not just in the STEM field, but also like in terms of humanities or arts. You can just go online and search up like whatever you might be interested in, and then add resources to the end of that Google search tag. And then you'll see online a bunch of resources for how to learn something really efficiently. So I'd say use Google. It's your best friend if you're undecided with what you want to do and if you want to find out your passion.
Thank you all. I think maybe, Yasi, do we have time to take some questions from the chat?
Yes, definitely. Actually, there's one question already in the chat, asking, have you met any CVHS alumni at your schools? Is there any Carnegie networking after graduation that you've found at your prospective schools? Maybe Yosh, you want to go first?
Yeah, so there are like there aren't very many at UNC specifically. But in the research triangle, so that's Duke, NC State, and UNC. I met a classmate of mine and Pablo and Kaylin's, Daniel Hendy, who's at Duke, and we just hung out for the day. And I mean that was just kind of like a really random connection that popped up. I went to visit one of my good friends, Cooper, at at Harvard, and then we also ran into some of our friends at MIT. When I go to UT, I actually saw Pablo in the middle of the street at like 1 in the morning. So there's definitely like a lot of just random Carnegie run-ins because like Carnegie's so just interconnected. So all of my friends are now like roommates that like didn't go to Carnegie are now like roommates with Carnegie people who go to their respective schools. So there's definitely like obviously I'm still in contact with a lot of Carnegie people. So there's still like a lot of Carnegie camaraderie for sure. And then in terms of networking, I mean, if you ask a Carnegie person for a job and you weren't like completely evil to them in high school, I'm sure they'd be willing to help you out. But I mean that remains to be seen. Give it another 10 years and I can give you a better answer.
Thank you. And
Um,
Do you want me to add? Should I add?
yes.
sure.
Yes, please add.
So Washington doesn't really have a lot of Carnegie grads. I know Annalisa from our year was the only uh Carnegie, she's only Carnegie grad that I know. And I see her a lot actually on campus. I saw her today. But I would say that Carnegie is so tight knit that even if you don't see people in person a lot, you still have like a really close network of people from your year um, that are super talented. And I know that like I'll stay in touch with a lot of people for the rest of my life. And just having that network is really, really valuable. Um, so even if you don't see them at school, I think just the nature of Carnegie and how small it is really beneficial. So
That's awesome.
Pablo,
Yeah,
last words. I think we gotta wrap it up, but maybe let's hear from Pablo and then Smita will wrap it up.
really similar experience to Yash, where I just see people from MIT and Rice like all the time. I've run into Yash at UT in Austin just on the street at 1 in the morning, so that was pretty funny to see him there, running around there. But like Carnegie is, I think one great thing about Carnegie is that it's a pretty small school compared to other schools, and especially high schools. So when you go to Carnegie, you really feel like you know everyone. Like And by the end of your 4 years at Carnegie, you should at least know or have spoken to almost everyone at that school, or at least have like a decent connection with those people. So I think that's a really great thing that Carnegie has given to me experience-wise. So yeah, I just spend time with my friends from MIT or Harvard or Stanford all the time. I have friends at Rice back home in Houston that I just visit all the time. And it's really great to just be able to talk to them about what they're trying to do with their college experience and what they're trying to do career-wise. And also it's kind of just great to see how they're utilizing their resources at their university. And it kind of helps me think about how I should be using those resources and how I should be spending my time here at UT.
You're on mute.
Sorry.
Rita?
Thank you so much. So I really wish we had more time with you because I think especially if our juniors and seniors are around, I'm sure they would have a lot more questions. So I hope that we'll continue to build up the CVHS alumni network, and you can come and take part in future events with us. Thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule and answering all the questions that we had for you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thank you, guys. I second that
Thank
motion.
you.
Smita, thank you for your questions. And some of the our alumni put their contact information in the chat and have said if you guys have any specific questions for them, they'll answer. So thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate your time.
Hello, everybody.
Perfect.
I'm going to
That's better.
speed run this because I know we're over. Thank you all for staying. That was such a great presentation. It's so nice to have the alumni here to kind of lead us into this discussion. Let me just share my screen real quick. This is just our new flyer for this year, just kind of on the tail of what our wonderful former seniors were talking about. So nice to have them here. We are going to be opening up the applications for this year's scholarship program in just a few days. So that will open February 1st. This is the flyer. We'll be kind of posting this different places. There is, if you go to CVHS PTO.org, what you will see under parent resources, there is a link for senior scholarships, and that will take you to the page where you'll be able to find information. You'll be able to find out how to submit your application. But what we're going to be doing this year is we're going to be offering a few more scholarships than we've done in the previous years. So instead of, excuse me, 7 or 8 $1,500 scholarships, we're going to take that amount to 10 deserving seniors and give them $1,000. So yes, is it going to really help students with their funding for college? No, but what it is going to do is it's money in their pockets. It's money for so many different things and expenses that you have at college. So we're really proud and excited to offer this to students. We'll also have honorable mention awards that we're going to be offering. So, and we want everybody to apply. This isn't need-based. This isn't GPA-based. This is for every graduating senior at Carnegie. We want to have as many applications as possible so we are able to see all of as many seniors as possible kind of, tell us about their journey at Carnegie and what they look forward to doing in the years to come. So again, if you have questions, this flyer will be posted in different places, but you can always find everything on the Carnegie PTO website. You can email me at scholarship@cvhspto.org, but then also we'll have the submission for the application inside of Membership Toolkit. Okay, we'll have that form with all of the prompts and essay questions. But again, this is for all seniors. We don't want to be limiting here. So please encourage your seniors to take part in this excellent offering. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Elizabeth, I actually don't think you're sharing the
You know what?
flyer.
I can literally see that right now. I don't think.
There you go.
Yes, perfect. Now you can see it, correct?
Yes, we can see it now.
Wonderful. So here is the scholarship flyer. Apologize for that. I did speed run that. So does anybody have any questions?
I
All
don't
right,
see any
yes.
questions, Elizabeth, but
Great.
I just want to say that we did put the link to
I see
the
that.
membership toolkit
Perfect.
page. So anyone that wants to talk to your senior about the scholarship, you can direct them to that link, find out about how you can volunteer. So if you are not a senior, or you're not a senior parent, then you are eligible to volunteer to helping review and grade the be a reviewer and a grader as part of the scholarship program. And that way you get a little bit of information on what people are looking for, so you can guide your seniors when they get to be seniors. So really great program. I think Mary said this at the beginning, there's only 5, maybe 4 or 5 spots left on the reviewer program. So definitely sign up and sign up quickly. Now, the way you can sign up is if you click on that link, it takes you to information about the scholarships, and towards the bottom of the page, there is a link that takes you to how you can volunteer. Okay, the applications will open up on February 1st, which is literally this weekend. So you have time still to speak to your senior if you have a senior at home, and then the applications are due back on April 13th. So those are the kind of the 2 key dates I wanted to call out. But thank you so much, Elizabeth, for walking us through that.